Hi, I'm Bob Binkley. I'm the president of the Gilbert and Sullivan Society of Bucks County, and we are in business in 2021. We want you all to know we're doing a full production of The Sorcerer, one of Gilbert's and Sullivan's lesser-known shows, but still a gem. And I have with me Lee Millis, our music director, and Henry Heyman, my co-director for the show, and we just want to tell you a little bit about it and try to get you to come out and see us. Lee, tell us, I'm just trying to think, we know that not a whole lot of people are familiar with the music, so if you can just give us some of the highlights that you've noticed in looking at it, listening to it.
Sure, Bob. This show was unfamiliar to me as well, being that it is indeed one of the lesser-known shows. It was actually the third production that Gilbert and Sullivan worked on together. Trial by Jury was probably the first well-known production they put together. A production called Thespis was done, but all of that music was lost as they threw it away. A few pieces do exist, and one of them, famously Climbing Over Rocky Mountains, was incorporated into Pirates, but this is the first musical that a full-length musical of theirs that exists in complete work, and really set up the format for all of the following operettas. In the famous duets and the patter song and the double choruses that were pretty much standard in format in every opera that followed. And so their formula, as it were, was set with this show. The music is delightful throughout, and very much in character with all the following operas. It's a classic, standard, full Gilbert Sullivan orchestration, so we are blessed to have a full orchestra that rehearses the entire duration of our production time, which is really unique in these situations. A lot of times, orchestras for these shows just get together the last week before production. We have the orchestra get to rehearse for 6 weeks. So they're really fine-tuned when it comes to production time, and they've gelled fabulously with our talented cast. So that is somewhat unique, and it really shows in our productions. So hopefully you can come out in July of this year and get to see the whole spiel fit together, and you'll get to hear a bit more about the production itself from our two very talented directors.
You know, speaking about the music, my personal favorite, I think the little love duet in the first act finale, Oh Love, Sweet Love, I think it's the prettiest duet that Sullivan ever wrote.
Yes.
That little, it's not even a minute, but it is a very special moment in the show. And the quintet is extraordinary, the second act. It's again one of his very best quintets.
And one of the best patter songs ever, too.
And the patter song is a knockout. John Wellington
Wells.
The Sorcerer is a love potion plot. And I'll try to put it simply, there are many convolutions. But a young couple are in love and they're going to get married, and they decide that they want everyone in their village, the village of Pleverly, to fall in love with each other in the same way that they do, experience what they've experienced. So they hire a sorcerer to come and spike the tea in their picnic and get everyone under a spell, under a love spell. And as you can imagine with Gilbert, everything goes wrong. People fall asleep at the end of the first act, and when they wake up again at the beginning of the second act, they all fall for the wrong people. It's a very, very clever, simple, funny plot. And it's just delightful. The reason that most Gilbert and Sullivan fans don't know about Sorcerer is that during the Second World War, there was a warehouse in London was bombed, which contained the sets, the doily cart sets, costumes, props, all of the entire Sorcerer, all the Sorcerer materials were destroyed in the Blitz. And so they took it out of their performance schedule for a period of, I think, 28 years. And so it was only brought back into their schedule 15 years before they ended, before D'Oyly Carte ended. So that's the main reason that it's not as well known as some of the other operas. It's really, it's a little gem. Henry Heyman, I have to say, is more experienced than any of the rest of us in some aspects of theater. He is a brilliant set designer, costume designer, and you'll have to read about him. I think we'll put his bio in
Currently
there.
living in retirement at Pine Run, and at the same time, I'm very, very fascinated about working with Gilbert and Sullivan. The very first Gilbert and Sullivan I ever painted scenery for was in my freshman year of high school and with the Mikado. And from then on, I seemed to be bumping into Gilbert and Sullivan all of my life, and worked with a wonderful woman in New York City called Dorothy Radler, who had the, at that time, only Gilbert and Sullivan group that was performing in New York. One of the great things about this particular show, and that one of the things that made Gilbert very fascinated with the subject, at the time this was done, London was going through an absolute mania for things occult and magic, and all kinds of Ouija boards and things of that nature, and mediums and one thing after another. And it was a fad that was all encompassing. Every area of society was fascinated with this, and so I think Gilbert looked at it, and so much of it, of course, was quite fake, and he was sort of using that as a sort of springboard from which to do it. However, he has a wonderful character called John Wellington Wells, who says, I'm a dealer in magic and spells, and who actually does invoke a spirit in this particular thing. We have a wonderful invocation scene. And I think it's Gilbert at his cleverest in taking something that was popular and sending it up.
Tell us a little about the set you've designed.
Well, we're in a situation where the young lovers are signing their, what do they call the papers that they're signing?
It's the contract.
The contract,
You
the marriage
signed the
contract.
contract before you got married.
Yes,
Before the
and so
ceremony.
there's no wedding until after the contract is signed. And as part of it, they're being entertained by Alexis's father and Alexis and Alina, the young couple. And so we're in front of Sir Marmaduke's house, and on one side of the stage is the marquee where the food is being presented, and of course both finales are ending up with talking about the food that they're going to be served as a great treat. So we are also in this little village, and one of the things that's quite interesting about the script is that it has a lot to do with the social structure. And there are people who are farmer types, and there are people who are definitely gentry. And so I think that's one of the things as directors we want to sort of point out, that there was a lot of awareness on Gilbert's part of who was who in the society. One of the things I wanted to do in the scenery was to give a sort of representation of what the town is like, and to show how rural and how charming and English it is. So I did a backdrop for it. Then we also have the marquee where the food table will be, and we also have Sir Marmaduke's home. So it's quite a bit of stuff to try to get into a workable set. Also, we have a young lady who's playing Constance, and we need a costume for her, so I did what I call a rendering of the costume she'll be wearing. Constance is the young girl who's lamenting in the first number, and she's the daughter of Mrs. Partlet, who is the pew opener, which is definitely what we might call lower class. And for her to have this thing for the vicar is quite interesting. And the vicar is also lamenting the fact that he's grown old, and he used to be very popular, but he is no longer. So you're hoping they'll get together, and of course, indeed they do. So Well, this is the backdrop of the village, and I wanted something that had the church in the middle, and just a sort of bucolic scene. This is just some details. There are. This is one side of the stage. There's a duplicate on the other. Then we have Sir Marmaduke's mansion, which actually has more going on this side. That will be a duplicate of that. And then we have the marquee, where the table will be. Here, by the way, is the table of food, because they refer to the eggs and the ham and the strawberry jam, etc., etc. And here we have the, this goes in front of that, and it's to welcome Aline and Alexis to their document signing. One thing about the costume for Constance is that it has to show us that she is not the equal of the gentry, who, by the way, in this particular production, we've been lucky enough to use some wonderful existing costumes which are quite upper class and quite beautiful. And so we're doing her as a young innocent. She is, after all, only 17 or 18 years old. And trying to also place her as the daughter of Mrs. Parkland. The dress is a very simple cotton dress. It has a little bit of lace trim, and she's wearing a little locket. But aside from that, she's not the equal of the other girls, who are quite fancy. And one of the things I did in the sketch was show her with a handkerchief. One of the things I'm going to try to do as part of her business is have her constantly making handkerchiefs wringing wet and handing them to her mother, who hands her a dry one. We hope you've enjoyed seeing some of the work that goes into a production like this and how much we enjoy doing it. And I'll pass this on to Lee.
I hope you will come out and hear how much work we put into this production. It really is going to be wonderful, and we hope to see you in July.
See it, hear it. We begin rehearsals on June 2nd, and we'll be in the theater at Del Val Life Sciences Theater, July 16th, 8 p.m., July 17th, 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock, July 18th, 2 o'clock. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can get much more information about this. Go to our website, bucksgilbertandsullivan.org, or just Bucks GNS will get you there.